Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Now, the author of The Path of Least Resistance and The Tech Insider, David White.
And welcome to a beautiful day at the headquarters of Technical Trading and Investing, TFNN.com. We are having just a wonderful, beautiful day down here. You can't say that much higher. Maybe we get a little bit of audio in my headphones here. And we are kind of having a flat day out here, just waiting for, I suspect, the FOMC minutes or notes or announcement. I can't remember which one it was. I've ignored it because, of course, no one's expecting to do anything with days before the election, so kind of a non-event. Everybody kind of just waiting for it to go by, but got a fairly flat market so far. Let me update my current data just to check again and see. 1.9 billion shares were up a little less than 2 on the S&P. It's been kind of moving around. Volume fairly decent out here. We've got a few more days before we get into fund buying, so there isn't a lot of impotence to see this market move. I suspect that we're going to go down, at least touch 1,400 before we bounce, and maybe we see that today or tomorrow or into Friday. But normally when you get to these big or close to these big numbers, the market just can't resist at least going back down there and tagging some of these century milestones, and that would be 1,400 on the S&P. Very flat day today. No, you kind of saw a little bit in the morning that may look like a return. I had a huge amount of stocks that popped up in my scanner last night. Only a few of them actually were anything. Most of them look like setting up possibly ABC downs, and maybe we might find some little bit of support in here. We looked at Apple, and Apple, just continuing just a huge ride. Of course, earnings after the bell tomorrow night. Right now, what's Apple printing off at? 617. When they spoke about their iPad sales, they didn't specifically say how many that they were selling, but it ended up, since they told the total amount for the last year, everybody could just deduct what they sold in previous quarters, and they knew that they sold somewhere between about 15.5 million to 17 million iPads, which would be under the initial estimates. Apple actually really physically moved about $12 as soon as they came out with the $329 price tag on the iPad mini. And I think it's kind of been on a theme I've been on here for a while, and that is you've got companies like Intel and Apple that have been making monstrous profit margins and gross margins. And you've got Intel makes about 50 or about 65%, or has made 65% on their processors when they go out the door. Especially the more expensive ones. Some of them, like the very big processors, are 80%. Some of the less expensive processors are a little lower. But on average, they're making about 65%. Apple has been in that kind of price range on the iPhone because of the kickbacks and the money they make selling apps and stuff like that. So every sale of an iPad or of an iPhone is just huge. They make at least twice as much. And if we're looking at numbers on this, it's going to be probably 3 iPad minis to make as much as they make selling one iPhone. Now, not a bad business, and in most places everybody'd be wonderful, but the projections from the Wall Street normally come from these huge margins. We saw Intel slip to 59% from their 65% margins before, mostly because a little bit less sales on the high end of the server chips and a little bit more on the low-end chips from the median chips from desktops and laptops. People just aren't buying as fast a processor, at least close to the bleeding edge as they had before. that causes discounts on those products. So we'll continue to watch this and keep an eye on it. But we've got just a few minutes, I think. It's supposed to be due out at 2:15 if I'm not, 2:15 I think is my calendar on that. So we'll look at it. Normally start the day off. I just wanted to make sure I got that out of the way before maybe we get interrupted if they came out early. It is Free Speech Week. It's a week-long celebration of freedom of speech and expression, cornerstone of our democracy and a vital American right. I kind of feel that we're losing that. If someone has an opinion different than us, they go and protest them and tell them to boycott them. Are these people doing anything illegal? No. It's fascists trying to push people out of expressing their own beliefs. If you don't want to go, if you don't believe in something, that's one thing. To go and form a group and make sure that these people, you try to run them out of business, it just seems to me almost fascist. I would hope that people on both sides of the aisle would stop it. Just if you have an opinion, people are stealing down here, stealing signs out of people's yards, defacing their property, yelling and screaming at them because they're going to vote for somebody else that they don't like. It seems to me like free speech, we're kind of on the ragged edge there. Probably not a bad week to think about maybe turning the other cheek just a little bit and making sure that you have just a little bit of love in your heart for people that don't have the same opinions as you. Anyway, we dedicate this to the, basically the First Amendment out there. A lot of people would love to just kind of throw it out, and people actually have been making apologies over the last few weeks, even elected officials, about somebody expressing their free rights and free expression. I don't think we should ever apologize, no matter how boneheaded what someone says, as long as it doesn't incite a fight or someone to kill somebody or burn something down. As long as they're not inciting violence, we should leave them be. Most of these people would, if you didn't bring them up, would probably fade into the background. Windows 8 is coming out. Let's see, we're watching here. Just keeping a close eye on these markets just to see whether or not anything's happening here and when the information does drop. But we'll be keeping an eye on it. Windows 8 is coming out. We'll get to Apple in just a minute. Some of the new things you can, if you've got a copy of Windows 8, you can download the new version of Skype. Microsoft spent about $8 billion on Skype. I thought it was kind of something they could have built for $1 billion in-house, but they wanted to go ahead and buy it, and I think a lot of it had to do with the current CEO acting like he was doing something so he wouldn't get fired then. And I don't know how wise a decision, but it's going to be part of everything in the new operating systems, from the tablets to the phones to the desktops, and even the game consoles for the 360s. So what we got going on here? Hopefully someone will post the announcement in the den when they do come out, although sometimes they're as much as 3 or 4 minutes late. Support for XP officially ends April of 2014. So, we're basically in the last year and a half of official support. They're not actually doing any more service packs. They're not doing the latest products. So XP is kind of really dead already. What the last April 2014 date is when you can actually install it and have it authorized and run Windows 8 itself. There will be no way after that date to actually get through the part legally where it authorizes it as a licensed version of Windows XP. And of course, by then maybe, I don't know, maybe there'll be not that many people still using XP, but still about 35% of the people out there using XP. Companies are probably not going to adopt Windows 8 that does come out this Friday fairly succinctly, but it's it's going to be one of those things where you have to kind of watch. what's going on. A lot of people prefer it. Somebody in the den was saying they liked XP. I've liked, actually, Windows 2000 was my operating system of choice. It was the most stable until Windows 7, and I used it for about 5 or 6 years, and it seemed to be very good. Anyway, the rollout comes Thursday night. You'll actually be able to buy copies of Windows 8, but don't expect a lot of companies to line up. It's going to take some time. A lot of Windows 8 is bridging the gap from what was known as the GUI interface, a graphical user interface where you used a mouse or maybe a touchpad and a keyboard, to using things like Kinetics, which will become a absolute piece of Windows over the next year. Look for laptops to actually have kinetic sensors built into them, along with things like the tablets themselves. And of course, Windows really going after the high-end business, the game connoisseur, let me put it that way, not the low-end Angry Birds, but the third-person shooter kind of stuff. And it will be it'll be interesting. Anyway, we're looking for that rollout Thursday night. I'm seeing the futures come off a couple of points, but I don't see anything that came across the show. Anyway, the Mini-Me came out yesterday. Everybody would call it the Mini iPad. I'm going to call it the Mini-Me. But the rollout came out. Of course, the biggest thing was when the price came out above $299. Everybody pretty much assumed that extra $30 was going to be profit because they couldn't get it in at the price point they want. No one's taken it apart, but I bet when we look at this thing, the price point comes in at about $210 for manufacturing. I bet I'm within probably $10 either way on that. But they probably said we wanted under $200. I probably came in at $210 to make the margins that they're making on the current iPad. They had to come in at $329. The difference is so minor, I can't see a lot of people buying the Mini iPad. Certainly the performance compared to the next generation iPad is not that big. And, the processor, now that it's an A6 and a bigger iPad, just makes me think that probably not. I just can't see them going toe-to-toe with a smaller iPad with the likes of the Nexus 7 from Google, a far superior tablet at $200. No matter what the reviewers are saying, I have just can't see the price differential. If that's making the difference, why you wouldn't go out and pay $500 and get the very nice iPad that does everything. It close the new ones, and including this little mini iPad, has the new Lightning connector. Not only for power, but hook it to an HDMI television output, some of that stuff. We'll talk a little bit more about this tablet business because it seems to be moving the market the most. And we'll be back in a minute.
What type of investor are you? Conservative, moderate, or aggressive? No matter your investor personality, your overall portfolio should reflect your financial goals, time horizon, and your risk tolerance. Help ensure your portfolio is appropriately invested with an asset allocation plan from Morgan Stanley Wealth Management. Simply picking the right stocks is not enough. Research has shown that choosing the right proportions of stocks, bonds, and cash is essential to the success of your long-term investments. Morgan Stanley believes a carefully selected portfolio can lower volatility and increase investment return potential. Find out about what an asset allocation and a Morgan Stanley Wealth Management financial advisor can do for you. Call Angela O'Brien, First Vice President and Financial Planner of the Clearwater, Florida branch at 727-441-6108 today to discuss your personal financial needs. Asset allocation does not assure a profit or protect against loss in declining financial markets. Investments and services are offered through Morgan Stanley Wealth Management, LLC. Member SIPC.
With the launch of Tiger TV, TFNN has brought our programming to the next level. With Tiger TV, you can gain access to each host's charts and computer screens as they host their daily stock program. Whether it's Tom O'Brien, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Ken Shreve, David White, Larry Pesavento, Victor Jones, or Terrell Martin, you can catch all of our technicians hosting their programs live and archived on Tiger TV for your viewing pleasure 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you haven't checked out Tiger TV, then visit TFNN.com and see what you're missing.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investment strategy. You're always looking for the next trading opportunity to magnify your perspective. Direction Shares connects sophisticated traders with a powerful array of ETFs from a wide range of asset classes. The markets may go up and down, and you want tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
Millionaires are made every day. The fact is, living your dreams is possible. Someone, somewhere is going to get rich. My recommendation is, let that be you. Each day, someone is making the decision to better themselves and creating a plan to fulfill their financial dreams. Let that be you. The key to turning dreams into reality is to take massive action. Let that be you. I'm Steve Rhodes, co-host of the Money Master Show with Tom O'Brien, seen daily at TFNN, and I can help you with your journey to great wealth. I'll show you how to create the ultimate financial edge, a set of tools, insights, and strategies that are part of my daily newsletter service, Mastering Probability. You'll have direct access to me by phone, email, and my private library of trading and investing secrets for 30 days with an unconditional money-back guarantee. I'll take your trading to the next level. Click on my name, Steve Rhodes, on the homepage at TFNN.com and turn your dreams into reality. Mastering Probability, folks. Let that be you.
This segment is brought to you by Goldfields. For more information, just click the Goldfields banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Well, looks like a lot of non-news with the Fed. They're going to stick to their stimulus plan. Economy, they say, is a bit firmer. I think it's a little pudgy, kind of like a what's that little Pillsbury Doughboy? You can kind of, I wouldn't say it's firmer. It's kind of more marshmallowy at the moment. Kind of interesting on the way here before we get into some more news. I kind of cut across the highway and then go through, take a cut through a less expensive area of the town, at least, and cut back over to a major artery to get on the big 4-lane to come here. And one thing I've noticed as I drive through this neighborhood, which is about like half a mile, that boy, are there a bunch of foreclosed houses. And I was talking to Tom in August about it. I said, you know, you see all these blue stickers on these houses. People come by, and what they've been doing is coming by and actually putting these warning notices on it, and then there's a white. A couple weeks later, you see a white paper on it, and then normally you see a ton of stuff piled out in the front yard, and these folks have been evicted, and the houses are been foreclosed on, or a lot of junk. Actually, I drove by a few places. Wanted to stop because there were some nice chairs out there in the yard, but I figured I'll check that out on the way home. But you know, it's just it's sad to see these people evicted and everything, but I think Tom may have the perfect timing on his little housing deal out there, because a lot of these houses are just, you know, I do this every day for the last year and a half down here, and I'm thinking, wow, this is fairly interesting, starting to see a lot of these houses finally being foreclosed on. A lot of people have been in those houses and haven't paid for 2.5, 3 years, but starting to see a great deal of them now. So we'll continue keep an eye on that. When I'm looking at the market out here after the Fed action, looking for volume or real movement, you're off a point on the S&Ps and about 100 million shares. Not really anything happening out here. I suspect everybody would love to see a bounce in this market, but the closer we get to Friday's close without any kind of action, I suspect the more we're going to have the market try to sell off. Apple, of course, it's up about $4. It's been down to, I think, $6.10 today and up to $6.26. We've got Apple and Amazon earnings after the bell tomorrow night. We've been short Amazon in the newsletter. We're going to have to decide what we want to do with that thing here, if we want to hold through or if we're going to go ahead and take our cash. We bought puts on it when it was printing around 258, so we're doing pretty good. We covered one of our shorts on Friday in the newsletter, and actually doing pretty good. We took a fairly decent position in the Tech Insider a few weeks ago, and it's doing extremely well. It's probably getting close to 20, a little over 20% here in the last 2 weeks. So we're looking at some fairly decent action in the newsletter, so I'm happy about that. I'm sure so are my readers. But are looking for that action in Apple and Amazon. Amazon, everybody's saying it come in pretty much right at estimates, so people aren't really getting or trying to push that up too much. Apple, of course, they did let it slip that they are going to have a bit of an issue with iPad sales. Part of that may have been people wanting to buy the iPhone, which is better for them because, of course, they make a whole lot more money. So how the street reacts to that is going to be interesting. The Bank of America, of course, the U.S. Attorney's Office has sued B of A and looking for $1 billion in the mortgage fraud against Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. A lot of this is, I guess, a company they bought. And to me, any kind of lawsuit you get like this 1 or 2 weeks before election normally stinks to high hell. And we'll wonder if this thing actually just gets settled out of court for $100 the day after the election. But we're seeing a lot of this kind of stuff come out. I don't know if I'd read a lot into it unless this thing really goes forward after the election. We're seeing a lot of that kind of stuff go on. And that's pretty much it for news. We're going to get into charts here fairly quickly since I don't see a lot of other stuff in the news. But we'll see. What do we got here? Wanted to look through some of the bigger movers out here. We saw some of them. Altera is one. We'll get to it when we come back. You can always give me a call, 877-927-6648, 877-927-6648. Call me now. Or I'll play that horrible Call Me Later song that girl has been singing all summer long that you can't get away from. Or maybe I'll play those horrible songs that they play right before my show starts that are all those really bad disco songs.
You've heard Tom O'Brien on the air, and you've seen him on Tiger TV, as well as being featured as a regular CNBC guest and contributor, and now you can have access to his expert trading advice each morning through his daily trading newsletter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, gives traders, investors, and money managers a thorough strategy for trading stocks, options, and indices every market day. Market Insights comes out each market day before 9:30 a.m. and provides traders with Tom's daily commentary, opinion, and specific trade recommendations on the markets. Using advanced Fibonacci methods, volume indicators, Gartley patterns, candlestick charting, gaps, and market timing, Market Insights will give you specific trade recommendations including entry, stop, and exit prices. The summer is over and traders are back. Get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. If you're an investor looking for a great weekly investment newsletter, then now is the perfect time to try out Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks. Every Tuesday, Ken breaks down multiple sectors in his weekly newsletter, Ultimate Growth Stocks, with a full in-depth report including specific trading recommendations within his model portfolio, charts, sector analysis, upcoming economic data, along with intra-week trading updates on newsletter positions whenever the market dictates. Right now, you can receive a full month, that's 30 days, to evaluate Ken's newsletter free of charge to see if it fits your trading plan. At less than $75 per month, Ken provides you with his expert trading advice that can pay for itself in no time. Take advantage of this great offer by signing up for a 30-day free trial to Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks today. Don't let this offer pass you by. Visit the front page of TFNN.com and sign up now. TFNN and Great Panther Silver have teamed up for another exciting silver giveaway. The Great Panther Silver Halloween giveaway will be taking place at the end of October, and for 3 full days, we'll be giving away silver coins and bars every hour from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. to one lucky winner randomly chosen. There's no purchase necessary. For more information and to fill out your registration form today, simply visit the front page of TFNN.com where you'll find all the details. October 29th, 30th, and 31st, we'll choose one lucky winner that will receive a silver coin or bar courtesy of Great Panther Silver. Winners will be announced live on the air each hour for 3 full days. Don't miss out on this great opportunity to win free silver from TFNN and Great Panther Silver. Register today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com, and for more information on Great Panther Silver, you can click on their banner on the front page of TFNN.com or check them out on the NYSE Amex, symbol GPL, or on the Toronto Stock Exchange, symbol GPR. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Crocodile Gold. For more information, just click the Crocodile Gold banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
We're going to get to some charts and some comments. Of course, you can always call me at 877-927-6648, and we'll love to discuss your call. We've got some comments or questions in the den. We'll get to those also. I wanted to get to Altera because I teased it just before the break. But Altera, I've always called Altera and Xilinx the canaries in the coal mine. And why is that? That's because when you need to get a product to market in a hurry, you can use their programmable logic chips. Now, if you're Apple, you may design an entire product around these and use, let's say, a couple hundred of them or something as you kind of refine your product. But a lot of times, if you, let's say you're a company that plans on selling 5,000 or 10,000 pieces of a product, these programmable, I can't even say it today. I feel like I've had a stroke. Anyway, programmatic logic arrays basically will give you the kind of logic out of a chip if you designed it yourself. There's some downsides to this. Mostly they're more expensive. It takes a little time to program them. If you program something wrong into them, of course, pretty much have to throw them away. But Xilinx and Altera both build these chips. Rapid prototyping, and also if you're doing something like 5,000 or 10,000 units, it doesn't make sense for you to go out there and have a fab build that chip unless it's very expensive. So Altera is one of these companies that is the canary in the coal mine. It lets you know what's going on and whether or not they're starting to see a lot of new people build new products or even low volume products but high margin. So, we'd use one of these. It probably cost, when I was designing these things, they cost from $50 to $100 for the ones we were using. Some of them as cheap as $5, depending on how much basically memory they had and how much programmability that was in them. But these things, very high margins for Altera. So you see Xilinx and Altera basically building the same thing, just wild swings in these. One of the bad things that's happened is that with Apple building such high volumes, and especially a lot of these other companies, you don't get as much of the follow-on business. Altera would love to have every company building 10,000 of something, but normally what will happen is someone will build something after the market has crashed in electronics, or maybe there haven't been a lot of new things in electronics, and they'll try to get it to market real quick. And maybe, you get 50,000 units or 100,000 before they can actually put it in cheap silicon. A lot of times these things that in Altera that are $50, even with design and at 100,000 lots, can come down to $5. So normally you don't see huge volumes in these. But like I said, it is a canary in the coal mine. What you don't like seeing today is this come back through a gap up that had huge volume and actually come back and test this previous low that had 5.8 million shares. That was on July 17th, and that was $29.67, 5.8 million shares. We're way over that today. The gap up that was pretty much in this range that we went through today came up on 13 million. I don't know if we're going to come through that today, but it's always feast and famine with these companies, so we always want to be taking a look at it. Let's see, Xilinx, Z-L-N, what is it? X-L-N-K, Xilinx. Oop, wrong one. What did I have here? Z-I is what? Z-L-N-X. Z-L-N-X. Okay, we'll get to that here. Z-X-L. There we go, Xilinx. The companion to this, they are down on it, but not near the volume, but pretty much similar setup. High volume bounce out of these lows. I have to check when they report, but you're going to want to watch these too. When these do bottom out, that's the best time to start looking at the SMHs again. And again, what we've had here today, but with looking at Altera, is not real great. You're probably looking at lower prices. I've been expecting a fairly large pullback in technology, and that's the way we're situated, at least in the for the longer term. Other stocks out there are moving. C.H. Robinson Worldwide, another one came out on earnings, down on fairly decent volume. Looks like we have $50.81 on July 25th, 6.5 million shares. Looks like the next heavy level to go down. This thing's probably going to work its way back in there. Monster Energy drink, of course, they've been hit by a lot of lawsuits saying their product kills somebody. They've made, I think, 8 billion cans of the stuff over 30 years. This is the first idea that someone did it. But it's not the first product to get hit with things like this. Everybody said saccharin would cause cancer. It didn't. There's tons of stuff over history that the hysteria overwhelmed what you could do. I don't know if the kids that are mostly people that drink this stuff are under 25, 28 years of age. If it's going to matter as much as Wall Street has decided it was over the last couple of years, but I think little cooler heads prevailed, and some little better news on this today have actually made it look a little bit better. Netflix is one of the ones I've been talking about it in Coinstar over the last few weeks because I said I can't imagine anything making Netflix look any better, especially with the poor movies that we've had over the summer. Of course, these are going to be the movies they release over the fall and into next spring, depending on how big they are. But if you didn't have any big movies in the summer, you had the worst summer in 10 years for Hollywood. How could that ever be any good for Netflix? And we see they came out with earnings last night and hammered huge. Look like it's back to at least 52, the low 52s for this thing fairly quickly. Volume is fairly good. Maybe you see some kind of move, but remember, before you see this thing really start to move, probably going to have some decent content for movies out of these. I know that they've been moving to a lot of the serials now, like HBO, Showtime, that kind of stuff, and maybe that'll help a little bit. But I still think that there's nothing that could help Netflix as much as new and great movies. They've been saying they've been moving into third world countries, and they may not call them that, but I'm saying that it's what it is. Their startup costs are fairly expensive, and of course there's no mail service. It's all on the internet. And of course sometimes you're challenged with finding anybody that has anything that connects to the internet so they can watch these movies. But not a whole lot that looks very good in there. We had a question in, what I'm trying to think, about Skullcandy. I'm trying to remember the SKUL. SKUL. The problem I have and have had with this company forever is, if you have the right now the people making money in this are all those guys that are making big headphones. It's hard to get somebody to pay, where you can go and pick up headphones like I have in my ear right now for $3-5. Are people really willing to pay $20, $30, $40? The people that are look to me the same kind of people that wear gold chains around their neck and have rims on their cars and play overly loud bass music that shakes their car apart. We all know those people at the stop signs that we just kind of quietly laugh at them. But those kind of people, we see it now with the rappers that have the very expensive headphones, and those tend to be doing fairly good, but those are all based on, Mr. T has them, or whoever's the hot guy now that's the rapper, what is it, Lil Wayne and all those other worthless individuals that have little or no talent as far as I'm concerned. But at least they have the ability to draw attention to themselves and sell their products. What is it, iBeats? Trying to remember. Yeah, Jay-Z and all those other worthless individuals too. They have limited talent. Probably great businessmen because they can get a bunch of people to listen to them talk without a lot of deep thought in it. Shoot the cop kind of songs. But anyway, we've got Skullcandy coming back in there. I just don't see the same kind of mind share that they're ever going to get with some celebrity to come out and say, hey, buy Skullcandy. Are they interesting, and are they pink? Are they very bright colored when you come in there, kind of like a flamingo? Do you see them in the Best Buy? Yes. But the question is, can you really get them to pay up big money for them? And I just, maybe we see a change in their advertising or something to where they do go to the Beats thing with Flavor Flav or whoever's doing those today. But that's it. You just don't have the same kind of deadbeats to flog this horse. As far as I'm concerned, you'd have to get some kind of guy that wore a giant watch around, a clock around his chest or something now, who's Flavor Flav, yeah, to really get going. You just don't have that kind of star power. Maybe that's the best way I could explain it, star power. I've never really thought a lot of these guys, I think that they're, they were really pushing themselves through Radio Shack, and of course, Radio Shack's on its last breath. They've moved themselves into some of the other retailers. But I've seen them discounted at Walmart. And at $18, how much money are you going to make? Most of these guys that are making money in this thing, like I said, are selling $100, $200, $300 headphones, like AKGs. Oh, I've got a wonderful set of AKGs. Or some of the other ones. So it's beautiful. Anyway, I just don't think that there's a lot there. Maybe they make enough money selling the people for earphones for $20, $25. But the money is in those guys selling the headphones that are bedazzled for $100 or $200. Anyway, I wanted to look at some other stocks here real quick, so I'll bring up my list of test todays. So we'll look and see. Wanted to look and see how some of these other stocks are looking. We actually have gotten to some level of support in the market. I still think that we're going to be headed a little bit farther down here shortly. Let me update. see if there's anything helping out there. Yeah, we're up half a point on the S&P. If you don't get any help here in the next probably 5 to 10 minutes, I suspect we sell back down to something like 1408 on the S&P cash. But we're looking at some of these other stocks. There are a lot of these stocks at support. The problem is that there's so many of them that have broken support that look like they're going to go back and test the next ones. These are the ones we want to see hold up here over time. And Zoomies is one of them. ZUMZ is the symbol up here. Took off with huge volume. It's come back into that gap. You've had 2 nice low volume days out here. And you've had a little bounce out of here. Volume hasn't picked up. I suspect that the market's still headed down. But you want to keep an eye on this. Other stocks that have failed to break down, MSFT, seems to be holding up fairly nice in this trading range, which is just above $28. We're pretty much right back in that. A lot of people have really been berating Microsoft, and the Microsoft haters that have had their iPads and their iPhones for a while are now all bloggers. And of course, if you saw Saturday Night Live this week, you saw just how they came down on those guys about what do they really know. It's kind of the days of real journalism is gone. But what we're seeing here is, they did come down on a little higher volume out here. I think it's more of a market issue than anything else. But a nice little range here from about $32 to $28. If there's one company that has come out and basically said their business, for the most part, is still fairly strong, it's been Microsoft. And it isn't in this business that they're getting into now, which is Surface or even PC business. It has been that whole idea of going after, the server market and that. The Surface is going to come with Windows Office. Maybe one of the biggest things to businesses out there. And I don't know if it's going to happen real quick, but if you had a choice of buying an iPad and spending another $150, so maybe we would say if you're a business, you're into the thing for $650, or you could buy a Surface RT for $500, spend another $120 for the keyboard, so being maybe the same price as a full-size iPad, even with just a standard Wi-Fi and 16 or 32 gigabytes of memory in it. Which one would you rather have? If I'm the business one, I'd rather have it come with Word and Excel and the presentation software and a lot of the other stuff in Office, and be able to use Outlook for my, and contact my my server at my office. A lot of nice things that could be in there. We're going to be keeping an eye on this market for the last segment, but looks to me like they're getting ready to sell this thing off. I'm looking for the lows of the day come in at probably around 1408 by the close today. An educated guess, but a guess nonetheless. But look for this thing to kind of pull back down and get a little gloomy. And I'm thinking we hit 1400 before the end of the week.
Are you looking for a precision edge in the market? Something that can stack the odds in your favor? Then look into Larry Pesavento's new trading newsletter, Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind. In each weekly issue, Larry explains what's going to happen in the markets based on the pattern he sees developing and gives you actionable trade ideas based on those patterns. Plus, you'll get his detailed analysis on a variety of markets and sectors, including stocks, treasury bonds, the gold market, oil, the dollar, the forex market, and more. And you'll get the Technical Corner segment, which is a short but powerful weekly training session on trading. You'll get access to all the patterns Larry is seeing in the markets, plus the Astro Harmonics and powerful Bradley stock market model that Larry utilizes for less than $5 a day. An extremely potent combination that will give you just the edge you've been looking for. Try Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind absolutely free for 2 weeks. Go to tfnn.com and click on the free trial link at the top of the page. That's an $85 value, yours free when you register right now. Get Larry's Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind and get the edge you've been looking for.
In just December of last year, the price of gold was down over 10%. In today's highly volatile gold market, you need someone in your corner that understands the complex relationships that exist within the price of gold, as well as within a variety of gold equities. Whether it's the South African gold miners and knowing how the rand-dollar relationship will affect their bottom line, or understanding how John Paulson's $5 billion trade in the GLD can move the market, Tom O'Brien gives you the direction you need to become a better trader each week in his newsletter, The Gold Report. With over 20 individual equities covered and almost another 20 on the potential watch list each week, in addition to covering the XAU, HUI, GLD, and dollar, The Gold Report is a great source for any trader that is looking to be diversified in today's volatile gold market. For your 30-day free trial to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report, log on to TFNN.com today. Don't miss out on this great offer. Act now. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Let me tell you something, folks. I have people coming up to me saying, I just can't believe the amount of work that Steve does on his newsletter. And I says, I absolutely agree.
That is a recent clip from the Money Masters show that Tom and I do each day at TFNN. My newsletter service, Mastering Probability, is much, much more than a newsletter. Yes, it's outperformed the S&P 500 by 100% during the last 15 months. But more importantly, it's an extraordinary education, a roadmap for your success. And it's yours risk-free for the next 30 days. Just go to the homepage of TFNN.com and click on my name, Steve Rhodes, and then Mastering Probability, because everyone needs a success strategy. For most, it's a competitive edge, the will to win, the drive to overcome any obstacle. Whatever you call it, winners find a way. Find your way to Mastering Probability today, because your journey to extraordinary rewards is just one click away.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
A little bit of headphone audio if the engineer would persist. Thank you. And we've got Western Digital. Of course, it came out with some fairly interesting news the other day. Kind of the interesting thing is that even though it came down on fairly hard volume and touched the bottom of this gap, the volume is not anywhere close to what you would think. We're still looking at the gap up that happened on 7/26 of about 21 million shares coming in and getting tested by about 21. So there is a chance that we are going to have a little bounce out of this marketplace before, and maybe a couple more bounces before we break any of these lower lows if we are going to 1350 on the S&P. So even though I'm bearish at the moment, I'm not rabidly bearish. There's enough of these things moving out here. Kind of one of the ones that's probably more interesting to me is Smith & Wesson. I'm thinking this thing is probably trading with the election results or the belief of the election results. This thing took off hugely and on 9/7 with monster volume, 14 million shares. We're getting back in here the last couple of days with like 2 million shares. Probably keep an eye on this one. This may be a nice trader. And, if you get down about $9, the last high is over 11. If this thing is in a trading range, not a bad trader out here to be looking at. BBB by Bed Bath & Beyond. This one also is back down at, let's see if it tested it here today. I think it came within a penny. No, still got a little farther to go. $56.72 on December 22nd was a low out there with 8.4 million shares. We've got maybe a buck above that. So I'm going to be watching one of these in the next couple of days. This one really looks like it's going to come in and test that low. And I think just like we were watching some of the other stocks, the stocks that were suppliers to Apple over the last few weeks, to see whether or not we're going to have kind of a little bounce maybe in retail and some of these retailers. This is probably going to be the first one that comes and gives us any kind of indication or clue over the next couple of days of what we're doing. Just I've got a minute left here. I want to update my charts here just to make sure. 2.2 billion shares, so we're starting to move along. 1412 on the S&Ps, so we're pretty much flat yet again. And we'll be watching how this market closes into the day. But looking very close at this and seeing probably what is going to be probably, I think we're going to get down to something like 1390, 1395, and see a bounce out of that, maybe back up to something where I think resistance is, which is about 1422 on the S&P, and then we're going to move back down probably between now and Christmas, back down to 1350. We've shown that confluence lines with the S&P. Maybe I have time to bring that up before the end of the show. But you've got some fairly significant confluence lines in the S&P. And there it is if you're watching on Tiger TV. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit more here. See, hopefully you can get it. That comes in right at 1350. When they're very tight like that, very small spread, and over the kind of time frame that we've had, these confluence lines do work very well. A lot of times people try to use them on very short time frames, and they don't work near as well. But if we're headed down with a vengeance, I'm looking at that 1350 level as our target. So keep an eye on that. Have a safe and wonderful day. We will see you tomorrow.